What's up, comic fans? And it's time for that new comic book day haul plus review where we get into the books. I tell you a little bit something about them. This week we have Return of the 50 Centers. We've got Bronze Age 50 Centers, and we're gonna get into it right after this. Welcome back. All right, let's get into it. We're gonna start off with those 50 centers. These are Bronze Age 50 centers, and these are all DC. You know we like to do themes. We're just gonna get right into the nitty gritty of it. These are all Superboy comics. We're starting off with Adventure Comics. All right, this is a 35 center. Al Milgrom worked on this cover, and yeah, I think this is like 70, 78, 79. Let me see if I can find a date on this book. 77 for Adventure Comics, number 454, 35 center, starring Superboy. I think it took me forever to hold that up to the camera. But there you go. Ooh, seems like I have a case of the hiccups right now. But we're gonna keep going. So this was Adventure Comics, and then Superboy gets his own title. And this is Superboy working with the Legion of Superheroes. This is a 25 center. Mike Grell on this cover, right? We already had Al Milgrom. Now we got Mike Grell. This is Superboy number 214, starring the Legion of Superheroes. All right, and then we got a lot of these. This one's got a huge amount of spine text. Whatever, it's a 30 center. I paid 50 cents for it. Has a $2 price tag on there. Probably about right what the book's worth. A little spine roll, but given the era, the print count, etc., you get $2 for this. Superboy number 224. Your next Superboy, next and last. All right, moving on. We got Superboy number 241 and the Legion of Superheroes. He was working with the Legion for a while. So here's another one. Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. This is 60 centers. These are 60 centers now, number 242. They're like the giant, so they're kind of prestige. Little spine roll in those, but we'll try pressing it, see if we can get them out. This is Superboy 244, 50 center. Now only 50 cents. They actually rolled prices back. Cool thing about all these books too, if you haven't noticed, they're all newsstand. Now I get it. Back then, there was a time when they were only newsstand, and then we start getting some newsies later on, mixed with direct market. And this is during the era when newsies were probably more prevalent. This is a 40 center, by the way, 255. And that's all good. But these are all newsstands, which is cool because at some point we do get some direct market. But this part of my collection will always be all newsstand. This is Superboy number 12. This is the new adventures of, so we switched from Superboy with the Legion of Superheroes. Now we got volume 2 of Superboy. Welcome to Smallville, home of Superboy and Clark Kent. So that's issue number 12. That's a 50 center. And then we got issue number 13. We got issue number 15. We don't have 14. We got issue number 16. Issue number 17. All right. You know why I built you and what your mission is, robot? Yes. to destroy you. And bonus feature, Crypto, the super dog in this one. And then there's the robot fighting him in the next issue. We have Superboy. We jump ahead to the new adventures of Superboy, issue number 35. And this has an extra free 16-page comic preview of Masters of the Universe. Masters of the Universe. He-Man. Extra bonus, Style H for Hero. Also in this. We got Superboy number 36. With the bonus feature, Style H for Hero. Same thing on this one, number 37. And then we've got Superboy number 38. Alright guys, now it's time to get into this week's comics, or the modern comics. I think there's one comic from not this week, but the rest of them from this week. Let's go. Alright, first off, we got X-Men Hellfire Vigil. This came out a couple of weeks ago. We finally read it. It's a little bit of a thicky book. $7.99 price tag. What we have here is a lot of the X-Men getting together, a lot of them going through their feelings about the whole Krakoa thing. I think this kind of puts a finishing bow on the Krakoan era. We discover Storm is going to have a child, a kid, and she seems very excited about that. But basically you got a lot of the X-Men getting together from all the different parts of the world to have this one final vigil to Krakoa. You do get Dazzler getting arrested in Chicago for having a concert. But yeah, it was a good book all around. Miles Morales makes an appearance, and of course the new X-Gal out there, or X-Men, Kamala Khan. So, all right, let's get into this week's books. We only had one Marvel book, which is usually not the case. It's usually mostly Marvel, and then everything else, maybe one or more, maybe one DC book or something like that. But we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 8. All right, Spidey's fighting Hellgate. This is basically like a 45-ish minute fight of Spidey versus Hellgate before Hellgate finally just knocks him unconscious. But Spidey really tries in this one, all right? As a lot of these books have been doing, a lot of the ASM, we do kind of have him going back into the past to learn a lesson from something in his past. That seems to be a thing that constantly occurs in this book, is Spidey is faced with the situation, and then we see him in his past. We see him in his past as young Peter Parker learning a lesson from whatever it is. Often it's Uncle Ben, sometimes it's a friend, but either way, it's a situation that he calls on from his childhood to use in the future. So we kind of had that happening in this book. All right, we're switching gears now. We're on to the indies. First off, we have Gunslinger Spawn number 45. I'm a few issues behind on that, so yeah, we don't review that one. Same thing with Rat City number 16. Same thing. The Spawn books are now $3.99. Does that mean I'm going to stick with them or drop them with a $3.99 price tag? That's a good question. We shall see as we get a little bit deeper into these books. We'll see what happens. May have to dump titles like Rat City and some of the other Spawn titles. All right, next up we have Exquisite Corpses number 3. Kind of co-written or co-directed by James Tynion IV. This was cover C, which comes polybagged with a collectible card. The book itself does say, like, in 2026, stay tuned for the collectible card game based off Exquisite Corpses. That's interesting. I like that. That's fun that they're, I think a lot of the end game for a lot of these books now is some kind of merchandise marketing deal with some TV or movie rights attached to it. This having a card game to it, it just seems like a fun idea. All right, we're up to Void Rivals number 21. You got Proximus on the cover. basically, so Leela, if you haven't been reading it, she's part of a faction. If you have been reading it, you know she is trying to convince the other faction that, you know, the scripture, if you will, what's been written is not what's going to happen if their civilizations unite. And the scripture says, like, you know, everything's going to come to an end. Proximus also kind of sees that. I don't think he knows what's happening with the other negotiations, but anyway, like, there's a war about to start, and both sides are kind of seeing the same ideas, and who knows, they're just going to fight for the fact that they're going to fight, as opposed to realizing they're on the same side. We did pick up the 1 in 10 for cover price. I just thought it was a pretty cool cover, so we grabbed that. But yeah, sometimes my LCS has the 1 in 10s at cover price, and if there's a cool cover, I pick it up. And if it's a minor key or key, damn right we pick it up. We have Justice League number 9. We're now on DC Unlimited. Dan Mora, Mark Waid, great creative team. I have to catch up on this. I am a few issues behind on that as well. Here's something I'm not behind on. Absolute Martian Manhunter number 5. Really good series. I am enjoying Martian Manhunter. The art is really cool. Dennis Camp is doing a great job with the characters. A white Martian has come to Earth and is infecting the minds of the people there. And so it's causing them to do bad things. The white Martian is making people do bad things. And so it's up to Martian Manhunter to stop him. Absolute Wonder Woman number 10. She's stuck in a maze, if you will, with a crazy woman. And she's making life hard. There's also a girl who's being saved by Minotaur. Wonder Woman saves her and then goes back after the Minotaur. A lot of mythological creatures in this one. I like Wonder Woman. Check it out. And then last but not least, from DC, we have Batman Hush. Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee working together again. Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair also helping with the inking and coloring. But yeah, awesome book. Batman it's a different Batman, I think, than what we got in the previous series with Chip Zdarsky. We're getting much older, much more like, you know, I'm Batman and I can do this on my own kind of thing here. And so it's really causing some struggles with the Bat family. And this one, it's Batgirl, who doesn't agree with the methods he's taking, and they end up fighting themselves before Nightwing kind of steps in. But all right, comic fans, that was my new comic book day haul. We had those bronze 50 centers. We had some books from this week. We have one book from a previous week. If you like the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go ahead and throw me a thumbs up. Comment down below. Do what you do. I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to get ready for this week's books. Peace. Deuces. We're out. Ka-ching.